Hello and welcome to all of you in my channel Blue Chip Finance। और इस वीडियो के अंदर हम इन्वेस्टमेंट एंड पोर्टफोलियो मैनेजमेंट का टॉपिक मॉडर्न पोर्टफोलियो थ्योरी इसको डिस्कस करेंगे, जो कि आई थिंक चैप्टर नंबर 7 या 8 जो है उसके अंदर इसके बारे में डिस्कस किया गया। और इससे पहले एक हमारे दोस्त हैं जिन्होंने पूछा था जी कि कौन सी बुक जो है वो रिकमेंड की जाती है इन्वेस्टमेंट एंड पोर्टफोलियो मैनेजमेंट के अंदर। तो इसकी वैसे बुक्स तो बहुत सारी हैं, लेकिन जो वेल रिकमेंडेड बुक है वो है चार्ल्स पी जॉन्स की, और इन्वेस्टमेंट एनालिसिस के नाम से। और इसके अलावा नोट्स, एक दोस्त हैं जिन्होंने नोट्स के बारे में पूछा। तो इन्वेस्टमेंट एंड पोर्टफोलियो मैनेजमेंट के देखें नोट्स तो बहुत सारे आप गूगल पे सर्च करेंगे कहीं ना कहीं से मिल ही जाएंगे। लेकिन मेरे जो एनालिसिस है उसके मुताबिक कोई इतने इसके आसान अल्फाज के अंदर कोई नोट्स इसके को खातिर ख्वाह अवेलेबल नहीं है। और तीसरा जो है ऑनर्स के स्टूडेंट्स हैं वो राम शर्मा ने कहा जी कि इन्वेस्टमेंट एंड पोर्टफोलियो मैनेजमेंट में, तो मैंने उनसे पूछा था सिलेबस, तो उन्होंने सिलेबस मुझे भेजा। तो ये ऑलमोस्ट सिलेबस जो है ये एमबीए, एमकॉम और ऑनर्स के अंदर ये सेम सिलेबस है, तीनों को कवर करता है ये। तो इसको स्टार्ट करते हैं जी। मॉडर्न पोर्टफोलियो थ्योरी, तो नोट्स के एतबार से आप जस्ट इसी को फॉलो करें, ये अनफ है। मैं भी अपने टाइम पे इसी तरह नोट्स वगैरह को तलाश करता था, लेकिन उन नोट्स से मेरा कोई काम नहीं बना। आखिरकार जो मैंने खुद ही इसका बनाना ये शुरू किया है चैप्टर के एतबार से। तो जितना मैं आसान से आसान अल्फाज में इसको कन्वर्ट कर सकता था वो अभी आप देखेंगे। तो सबसे पहले ये मैं बताता चलूँ कि ये जो मॉडर्न पोर्टफोलियो थ्योरी है ये ऑनर्स के अंदर या एमबीए के अंदर या एमकॉम के अंदर किसी भी जहाँ पे भी ये सब्जेक्ट पढ़ाया जाता है और उसके अंदर ये लाजमी पूछी जाती है आपसे। और इसका न्यूमेरिकल भी पूछा जाता है, और जो कि काफ़ी कम्प्लेक्स फार्मूलाज इसके अंदर इस्तेमाल होते हैं, लेकिन वो कम्प्लेक्स इन फैक्ट है नहीं। यही बात मैं कर रहा था कि नोट्स से या बुक से उसको बड़ा मुश्किल हो जाता है इसको समझना। तो वो मैं बताता हूँ कि ये फार्मूला बड़े आसान है और इनको कैसे आप जनरेट कर सकते हैं खुद। और असल चीज़ जो है वो इसको समझने के बाद फार्मूलाज जनरेट कैसे किए जाते हैं वो असल चीज़ समझने वाली है। तो सबसे पहले हम स्टार्ट करते हैं जी इसमें। तो इसके ऑब्जेक्टिव्स जो हैं इसके अंदर मॉडर्न पोर्टफोलियो थ्योरी, मार्कोविट्स डाइवर्सिफिकेशन, नेव डाइवर्सिफिकेशन, मार्कोवियन डिपेंडेंस, मार्कोविट्स एफिशिएंट फ्रंटियर और मार्कोविट्स एफिशिएंट पोर्टफोलियो। एंड वी विल आल्सो डिस्कस अबाउट कोरिलेशन, कोवेरियंस एंड प्रोबेबिलिटी, क्योंकि ये यहाँ पे यूज़ होंगे तो इनको समझना बहुत ज़रूरी है कि ये हैं क्या। बुनियादी तौर पे तो ये स्टैटिस्टिक्स की चीज़ें हैं, लेकिन यहाँ पे ये यूज़ होंगी। और इसके बाद वी विल आल्सो डिस्कस अबाउट डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ रिटर्न्स, इंक्लूडिंग एक्सपेक्टेड रिटर्न, रिक्वायर्ड, हिस्टोरिकल, रियलाइज्ड। एंड वी विल आल्सो डिस्कस अबाउट रिस्क and its types such as systematic and unsystematic risk. And finally, after understanding all these concepts, we will touch different problems related to modern portfolio theory. So let's start first of all. Background of modern portfolio theory. In older model of investment, investors analyzed and invested in single individual investment according to their best analysis, and it was assumed that different investment opportunities in an economy had no relation with each other. तो थोड़ा साथ में उर्दू में भी इसको डिस्कस करता चलूँ ताकि किसी को अगर कोई प्रॉब्लम है तो वो इसको इजीली समझ सके इस कॉन्सेप्ट को। स्टार्ट में ओल्डर टाइम्स में इन्वेस्टमेंट करने के लिए जो इन्वेस्टर्स थे वो सिंगल इन्वेस्टमेंट अपॉर्चुनिटी को परसू करते थे और जो भी उनका एनालिसिस होता था यानी कि अपनी तमाम की तमाम इन्वेस्टमेंट किसी सिंगल इन्वेस्टमेंट अपॉर्चुनिटी के अंदर वो इन्वेस्ट करते थे और ये इस बात को इग्नोर किया जाता था कि ओवरऑल इकोनॉमी या ओवरऑल इन्वेस्टमेंट एनवायरनमेंट ऑफ द कंट्री डिफरेंट अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ इन तमाम चीज़ों को इग्नोर करके सिंगल इन्वेस्टमेंट के अंदर इन्वेस्ट किया जाता था। Base of modern portfolio theory was an article which was written by Harry Markowitz titled Portfolio Selection, which was published in 1952, in which he gave mathematical arguments in favor of diversification of the portfolio, which provided the base for modern portfolio theory MPT. हैरी मार्कोविट्स जो हैं इन्होंने 1952 के अंदर एक पेपर लिखा पोर्टफोलियो सिलेक्शन के नाम से और इसके अंदर इन्होंने दो चीज़ें डिस्कस की, एक डाइवर्सिफिकेशन और एक पोर्टफोलियो। सबसे पहली बात कि पोर्टफोलियो क्या है। पोर्टफोलियो इज़ सिंपली अ सेट ऑफ डिफरेंट इन्वेस्टमेंट्स और यू कैन से कि आप डिफरेंट इन्वेस्टमेंट अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ में अपनी इन्वेस्टमेंट को ब्रेक करके आप उन अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ में इन्वेस्ट करते हैं और उनका एक कॉम्बिनेशन जो है, कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ डिफरेंट इन्वेस्टमेंट्स इज़ कॉल्ड पोर्टफोलियो। एंड डाइवर्सिफिकेशन जो है वो क्या है कि आप अपनी टोटल इन्वेस्टमेंट को किन किन सेट्स के अंदर आप इन्वेस्ट करते हैं कि जिससे आपका जो रिस्क है वो कम अज़ कम हो, यानी कि लीस्ट रिस्क बेरिंग के ऊपर आप मैक्सिमम रिटर्न हासिल कर सकें। और ये एक जुमले में ये बात समझ आ जाती है कि जो ट्रेडिशनल वे था इन्वेस्टमेंट का, in traditional way of investment you invest all your investment in single opportunity and if you face loss your all investment collapse। लेकिन पोर्टफोलियो के अंदर जिस वक्त आप अपनी इन्वेस्टमेंट को मुख्तलिफ सेग्रीगेशंस में, मुख्तलिफ प्रोपोर्शंस में आप जिस वक्त इन्वेस्ट करते हैं इनटू डिफरेंट अपॉर्चुनिटीज़, then there is a chance that if you face a loss in one investment other may be profitable, जो कि उस लॉस को सेट ऑफ कर देते हैं। तो ये बुनियादी तौर पे ये पोर्टफोलियो डाइवर्सिफिकेशन का कॉन्सेप्ट यहाँ से जनरेट हुआ। अब मॉडर्न पोर्टफोलियो थ्योरी, अंडर मॉडर्न पोर्टफोलियो थ्योरी होल इकोनॉमी or entire market is taken under consideration for the purpose of investment, which is alternative of old classical aspect of investment. Further, it is considered that different businesses have correlation with each other, so that correlation coefficients are used in mathematical models of modern portfolio management. If you are familiar with statistics, you remember that correlation is a statistical way to calculate or assess the relationship of two variables. We will discuss more detail about correlation coefficient in coming words. यहाँ पे एक चीज़ ये है कि आप होल इकोनॉमी या एंटायर मार्केट इसको आप कंसिडर करते हैं किसी सिंगल इन्वेस्टमेंट अपॉर्चुनिटी को या किसी सिंगल स्टॉक को आप एड्रेस नहीं करते और इसके अंदर स्टेटिस्टिक्स का एक कॉन्सेप्ट है कोरिलेशन, उसको इसमें कंसिडर किया जाता है। कोरिलेशन क्या है? कोरिलेशन इज़ अ स्टेटिस्टिकल वे टू कैलकुलेट द रिलेशनशिप ऑफ टू वेरिएबल्स। वो रिलेशनशिप जो है वो पॉजिटिव भी हो सकता है, वो नेगेटिव भी हो सकता है। तो इस कोरिलेशन के कॉन्सेप्ट को इस थ्योरी के अंदर यूज़ किया जाता है। अब तीसरी चीज़ जो है वो आ जाती है रिस्क इन मॉडर्न पोर्टफोलियो थ्योरी। According to Markowitz, volatility and risk both are two names of a same thing. And risk means the likelihood of the market to go upward or downward. It is simply the monetary capacity to invest in an expected direction of the market. अब रिस्क जो है ये क्या है कि आप किसी डायरेक्शन के अंदर इन्वेस्ट करते हैं। फॉर एग्जांपल, इफ़ यू आर एक्सपेक्टिंग दैट मार्केट विल गो अप, तो आप उसके अंदर कितनी इन्वेस्टमेंट करते हैं, वो इन्वेस्टमेंट जो है कितनी आप बेयर कर सकते हैं कि इन केस अगर वो उस डायरेक्शन में मूव ना करे तो आपको कितना लॉस होगा और उस लॉस को कितनी हद तक आप बेयर कर सकते हैं। तो सिंपली जो वॉलेटिलिटी है या रिस्क है, ये एक ही चीज़ के दो नाम हैं और ये मार्केट का किसी सर्टन डायरेक्शन के अंदर अपवर्ड या डाउनवर्ड जाने को बोलते हैं। It was further assumed that investor wants to minimize risk and that is quite obvious। लाजमी बात है कि कोई भी इन्वेस्टर है वो अपने रिस्क को मिनिमाइज करना चाहता है। आप बिल्कुल रूल आउट तो नहीं कर सकते किसी भी दुनिया के अंदर, किसी भी बिजनेस के अंदर आप रिस्क को ज़ीरो नहीं कर सकते। रिस्क अगर ज़ीरो होगा तो उसका रिटर्न भी कोई ख़ास ज़्यादा नहीं होगा, जिसको आमतौर पे आप CAPM मॉडल जो है उसके अंदर आपने देखा होगा, उसको रिस्क फ्री रेट बोलते हैं। तो रिस्क फ्री रेट वो रेट है जिसके ऊपर आपका रिस्क ज़ीरो है। बट जो मार्केट के अंदर जो इन्वेस्टमेंट एनवायरनमेंट पाई जाती है उसके अंदर रिस्क हर हाल में पाया जाता है। और ये भी अंडरस्टूड बात है कि कोई भी इन्वेस्टर जो है वो दो चीज़ें हैं कि वो मिनिमाइज्ड रिस्क के ऊपर मैक्सिमम रिटर्न हासिल करना चाहता है जितना पॉसिबल हो। अब रिस्क जो है मॉडर्न पोर्टफोलियो थ्योरी के अंदर दो टाइप के हैं। According to Markowitz, there are two types of risk. One is called systematic risk and other one is called unsystematic risk. अब जो सिस्टमैटिक रिस्क है इसको मार्केट रिस्क भी बोला जाता है और इसको अनडाइवर्सिफाइबल रिस्क भी बोला जाता है। You cannot avoid this type of risk. Systematic risk is a type of inherent risk which is inherent in the market, which is always present in the market. And when this risk discloses its actual appearance, nobody can avoid that kind of risk. That is why it is also called market risk or undiversifiable risk. For example, if whole economy of a certain country collapse, all stakeholders will face the consequences. ये जो रिस्क है इसको आप अवॉइड नहीं कर सकते, ये मार्केट के अंदर इनहेरेंट है, मार्केट के अंदर ये मौजूद रहता है। और ये रिस्क जिस वक्त अपनी अपीयरेंस शो करता है तो इससे तमाम के तमाम स्टेक होल्डर्स मुतासिर होते हैं और इसको अवॉइड नहीं किया जा सकता। दैट इज़ वाई इट इज़ कॉल्ड अनडाइवर्सिफाइबल रिस्क। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, आप टेक्निकल एनालिसिस और फंडामेंटल एनालिसिस जिसको हम बाद में जाके डिस्कस करेंगे उसके अंदर फॉर एग्जांपल आप देखेंगे कि अगर फंडामेंटल एनालिसिस में अगर आप जाके देखें तो उसमें पॉलिटिकल सिचुएशन भी स्टडी की जाती है, उसमें इकोनॉमिकल कंडीशन जो है ऑफ द कंट्री और मार्केट और एंटायर इकोनॉमी वो भी स्टडी की जाती है इन द लॉन्ग रन। फॉर एग्जांपल, अगर किसी मुल्क के अंदर कोई बड़ा इवेंट और न्यूज़ वो आ जाती है तो उससे भी मार्केट कोलैप्स होने का हमेशा ये ख़तरा मौजूद रहता है। तो उसको जो एक एंटायर इकोनॉमी लेवल के ऊपर जो न्यूज़ है या कोई इवेंट है वो अगर इस नेचर का है कि उससे पूरी की पूरी इकोनॉमी मुतासिर होगी तो उसको आप अवॉइड नहीं कर सकते। फॉर एग्जांपल कोविड 19 के अंदर सिर्फ किसी एक मुल्क की इकोनॉमी डिस्टर्ब नहीं हुई, बल्कि पूरी दुनिया किसी ना किसी हद तक इससे मुतासिर हुई है। सेकेंड टाइप ऑफ रिस्क इज कॉल्ड अनसिस्टमैटिक रिस्क, and other name is diversifiable risk or avoidable risk. Unsystematic risk is a type of risk which is associated with only one individual type of investment, and it has no impact on entire market or economy, and it can be diversified. That is why it is called a diversifiable risk. With the help of above discussion, one thing is clear, that Markowitz focuses on diversification, and that diversification cannot be treated as a frontier against systematic risk, but it can be efficiently used to avoid unsystematic risk with the help of investing in variety of assets or stocks or anything else. तो मार्कोविट्स ये समझने के बाद कि सिस्टमैटिक रिस्क और अनसिस्टमैटिक रिस्क क्या होता है, एक मज़ीद बात कि मार्कोविट्स की जो पोर्टफोलियो थ्योरी है इसके अंदर सिस्टमैटिक रिस्क को एड्रेस नहीं किया जाता। वी कैन नॉट एड्रेस सिस्टमैटिक रिस्क अंडर मार्कोविट्स पोर्टफोलियो थ्योरी, बट वी एड्रेस unsystematic risk in the Markowitz portfolio theory. So this systematic risk has no relation, or it cannot be studied under MPT. Now, after understanding risk and its types according to MPT, the next thing is Markovian diversification. It is a mathematical, or we can say statistical strategy in which we seek different positively correlated assets are combined in such a way that we get return at bearing least risk. हम ऐसे एसेट्स को तलाश करते हैं जिनका आपस में कोरिलेशन पाया जाता है, एंड ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ दैट कोरिलेशन वी इन्वेस्ट in those securities or assets or stocks or bonds or anything else, and that is called Markovian diversification. So isko mathematically, or we can say statistically, we calculate that correlation. Now what is Naive diversification? Naive diversification is simply investment in multiple opportunities on hope, not statistical analysis. Rather than that, the risk variance will be minimized and we get maximum return. So in Naive diversification and in Markovian diversification, there is a difference of statistical analysis. In Naive diversification, we just hope, and in Markovian diversification, we just hope but with the help of correlation. हम उसको स्टेटिस्टिकली एनालाइज करके हम मार्केट की एक डायरेक्शन को हम स्टडी करते हैं। नाउ आफ्टर दैट, व्हाट इज मार्कोवियन एंड हर्स्ट डिपेंडेंस? मार्कोवियन डिपेंडेंस इज अ टाइम सीरीज डिपेंडेंस in which current observation depends on previous mere time period observations, and one thing should remember that this dependence decay very quickly. तो टाइम सीरीज एनालिसिस को इसके अंदर देखा जाता है कि फॉर एग्जांपल एक लीनियर ट्रेंड को फोकस किया जाता है कि अगर मार्केट एक सर्टेन डायरेक्शन के अंदर मूव कर रही है तो टाइम पीरियड एनालिसिस के अंदर जो उसका वेरी प्रीवियस जो उसका टाइम है उसके अंदर उसकी मूवमेंट किस तरफ है, आइदर इट इज गोइंग ऑन अपवर्ड डायरेक्शन or downward direction, but on the basis of very close time period, previous time period. So that is called Markovian dependence. Whereas Hurst dependence is time series dependence which decay after a long period of time. In Markovian dependence, time period dependence decay very quickly. For example, if you are observing the movement of the market on the basis of 3-year or 5-year back time period, it cannot be analyzed under Markovian dependence, but it is called Hurst dependence because Markovian dependence decay very quickly and Hurst dependence decay after a long period of time. After that, what is Markowitz efficient frontier and portfolios? Markowitz efficient frontier is a graphical presentation of mathematically calculated risk return oriented portfolios in which one boundary is drawn. Portfolio above the boundary are unachievable, whereas portfolios those are very close to boundary are efficient portfolios. तो ये मार्कोविट्ज़ एफिशिएंट फ्रंटियर और पोर्टफोलियो का एक ग्राफ सा मैंने डिज़ाइन किया है। तो इसके ऊपर अगर आप गौर करें तो ये जो लाइन है, सबसे पहले तो ये कॉम्बिनेशन, ये जो ग्राफ है ये बनाया जाता है जो आपके मैथमेटिकल कैलकुलेशंस हैं बिटवीन एक्सपेक्टेड रिटर्न एंड रिस्क, ये उसकी बेस के ऊपर हम डॉट्स फॉर एग्जांपल हमने ड्रॉ किए कि इफ यू आर बेयरिंग risk here, so what will be your return? Your return will be here. If you are bearing risk from here, what will be your return? Return will be here. So that these points are the combinations of risk and expected return. And one thing is obvious, that risk and return, these both have positive relation with each other. If you are bearing more risk, your expected return will be more. So if your combination goes above to this line, that portfolio will be unachievable. You cannot achieve that kind of portfolio. वो किसी ख़ास वजह से कोई एक सर्टन कोई न्यूज़ ऐसी या कोई फॉर एग्जांपल कोई ऐसी सिचुएशन मार्केट में पैदा हो गई है कि जिससे मार्केट में एकदम बूम आया है, तो वो वक्ती तौर पे वो पोर्टफोलियो वहाँ पे डेवलप हुआ है, लेकिन उसको फ्यूचर में अचीव करना या उसकी उम्मीद रखना ये मुमकिन नहीं, ये अनअचीवेबल है। वेयर एज ये जो आपकी लाइन है, ये जो डायरेक्शन शो कर रही है पोर्टफोलियो की, द पोर्टफोलियोज दोज आर नियरेस्ट टू दिस लाइन are called efficient portfolios, and this line which we draw on the basis of the direction of these portfolios is called efficient frontier. So most suitable efficient portfolios are those portfolios those are present near to this line. So this one, this one, this one, this one and this one, these are efficient portfolios. You can invest or think about these types of portfolios. So that is called Markowitz efficient frontier and portfolios. Now what is covariance and correlation? Covariance is an absolute measure of dispersion and it is a statistical way to calculate the risk. If covariance of two investments such as X and Y is positive, it means that these both stocks or investments have positive returns. Further, if covariance is highly positive, it means both stocks have high returns, and if covariance is low positive, it means both stocks have low positive returns. Whereas correlation coefficient is a relative measure to assess the relationship of two variables. In sample statistics it is denoted by R, whereas a population parameter it is denoted by P. It has relation with covariance as given below, that correlation between X and Y is equals to covariance of X of Y divided by standard deviation of X multiplied by standard deviation of Y, and it always ranges -1 to +1, both inclusive. अच्छा, अब इसको थोड़ा सा हम मज़ीद डिस्कस कर लेते हैं। First of all, measures of dispersion. Measures of dispersion is a statistical topic in which we calculate the disbursement of the data. If dispersion is higher, there is more risk and obviously more return, but expected, not confirmed. क्योंकि आप जिस वक्त रिस्क ज़्यादा लेते हैं तो एक्सपेक्टेड रिटर्न भी ज़्यादा होता है, लेकिन अगर वो पॉसिबल हुआ तो. वेयर एज इफ योर डिस्पर्शन इज लो, which means that your return will be low but positive return. दूसरी तरफ आ जाए कोरिलेशन. कोरिलेशन जो है वो कैलकुलेट करती है रिलेशनशिप ऑफ टू वेरिएबल्स, और कोरिलेशन की जो रेंज है वो -1 to +1 है. मतलब इसका क्या हुआ कि कोरिलेशन कोएफिशिएंट ना -1 से कम होगा ना +1 से ज़ायद होगा. अगर ऐसा है तो वो कोरिलेशन दुरुस्त नहीं. अब कोरिलेशन की 5 टाइप्स हैं. देयर आर 5 टाइप्स ऑफ कोरिलेशन. वन इज कॉल्ड परफेक्टली पॉजिटिव. व्हाट इज परफेक्टली पॉजिटिव? Perfectly positive correlation is that type of correlation in which your correlation coefficient answer is exactly +1, which means that there is a perfectly positive correlation between two variables. और इसका मतलब आसान लफ्ज़ों में क्या है? It means that if one variable increases or decreases in a certain proportion, the other dependent variable will also increases or decreases according to certain proportion. Now, what is the second type? Second type of correlation coefficient is perfectly negative. Perfectly negative correlation is a correlation in which your correlation coefficient answer is exactly -1, not less than, not more than. So exactly -1 answer means that there is a perfectly negative correlation between two variables, which means that if one variable increases with a certain proportion, the other variable decreases with the same certain proportion. Or we can say that if variable decreases with a certain proportion, the other variable will increase with the same certain proportion. So that is your second type of correlation, and that is perfectly negative. So what is the third type? Third type is zero correlation. Zero correlation means that if your correlation coefficient answer is 0, it means that there is no relationship between two variables. And other two types are positive and negative correlation. If your answer ranges between 0 to +1, both exclusive, ना ही वो 0 हो और ना ही वो exactly +1 हो, so that means there is a positive relation between two variables, not perfectly positive but positive. Example that if one variable increases, the other variable also increases but not with same proportion, or vice versa. And same is the opposite case of fifth type of correlation, and that is negative correlation. So negative correlation means that if your answer falls between 0 and -1, both exclusive, ना ही वो 0 हो ना ही वो -1 हो, तो your correlation is negative correlation, and which means that if your one variable increases, other variable decreases, not with same proportion but decreases, and vice versa. After that, what is probability? Probability is also a statistical measure to calculate the chance of happening or occurring something, or not happening or not occurring something. किसी चीज़ के होने का या उसके ना होने का जो इम्कान है, उसको कैलकुलेट करने का नाम probability है. And its answer always ranges between 0 and 1, both inclusive. यानी कि इसका आंसर 1 से ज़ायद नहीं होता। अब यहाँ पे ये प्रोबेबिलिटी, कोरिलेशन और कोवेरियंस को डिस्कस करने का मतलब ये नहीं कि आपने इसको कैलकुलेट करना है इधर, सो इस बारे में परेशान होने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, लेकिन ये आपको डाटा में दिए जाएंगे तो आपके पास इन चीज़ों का बैकग्राउंड मौजूद होना चाहिए। यू शुड नो अबाउट द मीनिंग्स ऑफ कोवेरियंस, कोरिलेशन एंड प्रोबेबिलिटी। If you know about these measures, you can calculate your questions or problems very easily. After that, we turn our focus to return. Return is simply what you get uh, against your investment is simply called return. So required return, as it names is defining that what you are required. Required return is a return which is required or least needed or demanded by the investor. And what is the realized return? Realized return is a type of return which is actually realized by the investor. Required return may be your requirement, your demand, but realized return, which is you actually realized or you earned. Expected return is a type of return which you are expecting that you will earn this type of return. So expected return is a type of return which is expected by the investor to realize in near future. Now what is historical return? Historical return is a past return which was actually realized in past. It is a past rate of return. So after all these discussions related to modern portfolio theory, now we come to the conclusion कि इन्वेस्टमेंट जो है वो ऐसे सेट ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट्स के अंदर हम कंसिडर करते हैं कि ऐसी अपॉर्चुनिटी, मल्टीपल अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ के अंदर हम एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं कि जिससे हम अपना रिटर्न ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा हासिल कर सकें और उसके ऊपर जो रिस्क है वो हम कम से कम बेयर कर सकें, जो कि एक ऑब्वियस ख्वाहिश है हर इन्वेस्टर की। अब इन्हीं कॉन्सेप्ट्स को लेके हम प्रॉब्लम्स की तरफ आते हैं। सो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल क्वेश्चन नंबर 1 दैट कैलकुलेट द एक्सपेक्टेड रिटर्न एंड रिस्क स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन फॉर जनरल फूड्स गिव द फॉलोइंग इंफॉर्मेशन। देयर आर टू रोज, वन is giving us probabilities and second row is defining the expected returns. So expected return, for example, there are no names given in the question, but we assume that this is a type of investment A, this is B, C, D, E. So in investment A, you are getting return 0.20 and the probability is the calculation of a chance that you will actually get this return 20% is 15%. Second investment, in second investment your expected returns are 16%, and to get this 16% there is a chance of 20% that you will get this 16%. Similarly, in investment C, your expected return is 12%. You are expecting that I will get 12% return on my investment, and the probability to get that 12% is 40%. Similarly, in investment D, you are expecting that you will get 5% return, and the probability of that 5% return is 10%. And similarly, in investment E, you are expecting that you will face a loss of 5% because it is minus 0.05, and the expectation of that loss, the chance of probability is 15%. So if you sum up all these 15% plus 10%, 25, 25 plus 40, 65, 65 plus 20, 85, 85 plus 15, 1. So come to the probability that it its answer always ranges between 0 and 1. So the total of probability is 1, which means that you split your investment, whole investment, whole investment is 1. So you are splitting your investment into different opportunities. So now, after understanding these, there are two things to calculate. One is your overall required rate of return, and one thing is to calculate the overall risk. In whole modern portfolio theory, there are two things to calculate. One is the return of portfolio, not individual. Individual returns are given here, but overall portfolio return. And second thing is the overall risk involved. And you are seeing here that in this problem, there is no correlation. So if there is no correlation, always remember that you need to calculate two things. One is overall portfolio expected return, and second thing, overall portfolio's measure of risk, that is finally standard deviation. So first of all, we are going to calculate your portfolio's expected return. So simply multiply the probabilities with expected return. So one thing you should remember, that always write down your data into fraction. For example, if here it is given 15%, 20%, 40%, here given 20%, 16%, 12%, you convert this data into the fractional form. So 20% in fraction is always written as 0.20. 15% is in fraction is always written as 0.15, and so on. I hope you will understand. So simply multiply these both, probability and return. 0.15 multiplied by 0.2 equals to 0.03. And in the same way, calculate all these P's and R's and take the sum. And when you take the sum, it is 0.1075. That is your required or expected return of whole portfolio. So that is 10.75, because it is written in fraction. When we convert it into percentage, it will be simply 10.75. Simply multiply कर दें 100 के साथ, तो आपका एक काम हो गया, और वो क्या है, रिटर्न को कैलकुलेट करना पोर्टफोलियो के. नाउ कम टू द सेकंड पॉइंट, and that is to calculate the measure of risk. So measure of risk is simply, remember this formula, R minus R bar whole square multiplied by P. R is your individual return. These are given here 0.2, 0.16 and so on. R bar is your portfolio return, that is 0.1075, and P is your probability to get that return, which is 0.15, 0.2, 0.4 and so on. So I show you one calculation, and other you can calculate by your own, but calculations are given here. So first one, how can we calculate this? It is, what is R? R is 0.2. What is R bar? That is 0.1075. So 0.2 minus 0.1075 whole square multiply by P, that is 0.15. And in this way you can calculate all these values and take the sum, that is equals to the covariance or simply variance. And if you know about statistics, you know very well that standard deviation is always the under root of variance, or you can say that variance is a square of standard deviation. So when we take the under root of 0.00594875, we can calculate the risk, that is 0.0771. So in this problem, now you calculated both things. One is called expected return of whole portfolio, that is 10.75, and risk, expected risk in whole portfolio is 7.71%. So you can say that if you invest in these fractions, you are expecting that you will get 10.75% return, and if it lose, you will lose 7.71%. So that is the chance of losing your investment. Now we come to the second question. As you are seeing here that 4 securities have the following expected returns. In security A, there is expected return 15%. If you invest in security B, there is expected return of 12%, in C 30%, and in D 22%. Calculate the expected return for a portfolio consisting of all 4 securities under the following conditions. Condition number 1 or A is the portfolio weights are 25% each. So now one thing is new. In previous question, you notice about probabilities, and in this question you are noticing about weights. So these are same things, don't confuse about these. 25% weight means that if you have 100 rupees, you invest 25 in security A, 25 in security B, 25 in security C, and 25 in security D. So just simply denote this weight with W. So the expected return of the portfolio with weights or probabilities is equals to weight of A multiply by return of A investment plus weight of B multiply by return of B investment plus weight of C multiply by return of C investment plus weight of D multiply by return of D, and you can expand this formula into infinite numbers. So here, because we have 4 different investment opportunities, तो एक बात जो मैं आपको बता रहा था, हाउ टू जनरेट फार्मूला, अब आपको ये सारा याद करने की ज़रूरत नहीं, जस्ट सिंपली आप इसको समझ जाएं कि आपने इसका कॉम्बिनेशन लेना क्या है. यहाँ पे भी अगर आप देखें, you are multiplying these both and adding up. So the same thing is happening here. You are just simply multiplying these and adding. So first weight is 25%, which is 0.25. Always remember that, always use fractional form as we discussed earlier. So weight of A investment is 0.25, return of A investment is 0.15. Weight of second investment is 0.25. Similarly, weight of third investment is 0.25 and fourth investment 0.25. And return of second investment is 12%, 0.12. C investment 0.30 and D investment 0.22. Just simply multiply these with each other and add up, and you will get 0.1975, which means that your expected return in this portfolio is 19.75%. What is the second requirement? In second requirement, it is required that the portfolio weights are 10% in A, with the remainder, what is the remainder? 90%, equally divided among the other 3 stocks. So weight A should be here 0.10 and equally divide remaining weight. So what is the remainder? Remainder is 90%. total is 100%. In fraction we can say total is 1, and 90% should be divided equally. So what are other investments opportunities B, C and D? So divide 90 among these three, and that is obviously 30%. So weight of B is 0.30, weight of C is 0.30 and weight of D is 0.30, and simply multiply all the returns 0.15, 0.12, 0.30 and 0.22 and sum up, and your expected return of the portfolio is 0.207, which means that you are expecting 20.7% return in your portfolio. Condition C, the portfolio weights are 10% each in A and B and 40% each in C and D, which means the weight of A is 0.10, weight of B will also be 0.10, weight of C will be 0.40 and weight of D will also be 0.40, as you are seeing here, 0.10, 0.10, 0.40 and 0.40, and multiply the returns 0.15, 0.12 in B, 0.30 in C and 0.22 in D, and sum up after the multiplication, and you will get the answer 0.235, which means 23.5% expected return. तो इन वेट्स का मतलब क्या है कि मतलब ये है कि if 10% in A and B and 40% in C and D, which means that if you have $100, you are going to invest $10 in investment A, $10 in investment B, $40 in investment C and $40 in investment opportunity D. So after that, question number 3. Assume the additional information provided below for the 4 stocks. As you are seeing here that there are 4 stocks A, B, C and D, and these 4 securities expected returns are given here. These are the same which are used in the previous question. In investment A, you are expecting to get return of 15%, in B 12%, in C 30% and in D 22%. And standard deviation, always remember that this sigma sign represents the standard deviation, which is a measure of risk, that is 10% in A, which means that if you invest in this, there is a risk of 10, B 8, C 20 and D 16. So these are standard deviations of A, standard deviation of B, standard deviation of C and standard deviation of D. So you have 2 things, one is return and other one is standard deviation. Now what are these things? These are the correlations. For example, the correlation between A and B. So A column is here and B row is here. So correlation between A and B is 0.6. Similarly, correlation between A and C is 0.2. Similarly, correlation between A and D is 0.5. Similarly, correlation between C and B, or you can say B and C, is minus 1.0, and correlation between B and D is 0.3. So these are correlations. Now what is asked or required in the question? First of all, assume equal weights for each stock. Okay, if we are getting equal weights in each stock, so we have assume equal weights for each stock. What are the standard deviation for the following portfolios combining these securities? Okay, first condition is A, B and C. So in this question, or we can say this part of this question, we have three different stocks, A, B and C, and it is asked in the question that assume equal weights. So equal weight, what is the weight of A? 1 by 3. We are not taking फ्रैक्शन हेयर, क्योंकि वो आपको पता है कि 1/3 जिस वक्त हम करेंगे तो वो हमारा आंसर जो है वो पॉइंट्स में आ जाएगा और वो एरर जनरेट करेगा. सो सिंपली राइट डाउन 1/3. व्हाट शुड बी द वेट ऑफ बी? 1/3. एंड व्हाट शुड बी द वेट ऑफ सी? 1/3. तो हमने इक्वल वेट्स ले लिए, यानी कि तीन हिस्सों में से अगर हम अपनी टोटल पोर्टफोलियो इन्वेस्टमेंट को इफ वी वांट टू स्प्लिट इनटू थ्री पार्ट्स, दैट वन पार्ट शुड बी इन्वेस्टेड इन ए, वन पार्ट शुड बी इन्वेस्टिंग इन बी एंड वन पार्ट इन सी. सो वेट्स आर 1/3, 1/3 एंड 1/3. तो पहली चीज़ तो हमने डाटा में डिफाइन कर ली. दूसरी चीज़ जो हमें ज़रूरत पड़ेगी, स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन ऑफ ए, बी एंड सी. व्हाट इज़ द स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन ऑफ ए? 10. Standard deviation of B 8 and standard deviation of C is 20. So sigma A, sigma B, sigma C, 10, 8, 20. And what is the correlation between, यहाँ पे एक बात याद रखें, अगर आप सैम्पलिंग से विदाउट रिप्लेसमेंट से वाकिफ़ हैं तो पॉसिबल पेयर, व्हाट आर द पॉसिबल पेयर्स इन A, B and C? one possible pair is AB. Second possible pair is AC. थर्ड पॉसिबल पेयर इज बी सी. सो तीन पॉसिबल पेयर्स हैं इसमें, ए बी, ए सी एंड बी सी. सो वी नीड थ्री कोरिलेशंस बिटवीन ए बी, ए सी एंड बी सी. सो व्हाट इज द कोरिलेशन बिटवीन ए बी? हियर यू कैन सी दैट इफ we take A in the row and B in the column, we have no correlation. But if we take A in the column and B in the row, we get correlation, that is 0.6. So correlation between A and B is 0.6. Now other correlation possible is AC. So if we take A from row and C from column, we have no correlation. But if we take A from column and C from row, we have correlation between A and C, and that is 0.2. 0.2. And third possible correlation is BC. So similarly, if we take B from column and C from row, we can get -1.0. But if we get B from row and C from column, we have no. But you can use other option. You can alter this from transposing columns and rows. So correlation between B and C is -1.0. And what are the returns of A, B and C? Return of A is 15%, return of B is 12%, and return of C is 30%. All these things which you need are given here. So first important thing is to write down the data. After that, we need two calculations. One is to calculate the expected return of the portfolio, and other thing is to calculate the measure of risk of the portfolio, and that is standard deviation. तो ये बहुत आसान है जो मैं आपको बता रहा था कि इसको जनरेट करें खुद. सबसे पहले तो ये डाटा जो है इसको कलेक्ट करना और डाटा को लिखना, ये सबसे इम्पॉर्टेंट है. अकॉर्डिंग टू डायरेक्शंस वेट को देना, ये सबसे इम्पॉर्टेंट है. उसके बाद फार्मूला मैं अभी आपको बताता हूँ. हम रिटर्न को बाद में कैलकुलेट करेंगे. सबसे पहले हम वेरिएंस का फार्मूला जनरेट करते हैं. तो वेरिएंस का फार्मूला कैसे जनरेट होगा? आप ये इसको मैंने कलर से डिफ्रेंशिएट कर दिया है ताकि आपको इजीली समझ आ सके. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, I am zooming little one. weight of A square and standard deviation of A square. So just apply this one into 3 steps because you have 3 uh, securities to invest, A, B and C. Just copy this one and just replace the signs or alphabets. Weight of A square, standard deviation of A square, what should be next? Weight of B square, standard deviation of B square, what should be next? Weight of C square and standard deviation of C square. So that is the first part of the formula. Now come to the second part of the formula and you will be amazed that you can generate this formula further very easily. Just focus on this first part. 2 multiply by, first combination of correlation is AB, correlation between AB, multiply by weight of A, multiply by weight of B, multiply by standard deviation of A and multiply by standard deviation of B. सो यहाँ पे आपने जस्ट इसको समझा और जस्ट नीचे अल्फ़ाबेट्स चेंज कर दिए। बिल्कुल इसी तरह हमारे पास कोरिलेशन के 3 पॉसिबल पेयर्स हैं, ए सी एंड बी सी। सो जस्ट यूज रिमेनिंग 2 पेयर्स ऑफ कोरिलेशन। सो व्हाट शुड बी हेयर, यहाँ पे अगर आपको जस्ट ये समझ आ गया तो आपको खुद आगे समझ जाना चाहिए कि क्या होगा। 2 मल्टीप्लाई बाय ए सी, तो कौन कौन से आप स्टॉक्स इसमें यूज कर रहे हैं कोरिलेशन में, ए और सी, एंड मल्टीप्लाई वेट ऑफ ए, मल्टीप्लाई बाय वेट ऑफ सी, मल्टीप्लाई बाय स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन ऑफ ए, मल्टीप्लाई बाय स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन ऑफ सी। एंड व्हाट शुड बी नेक्स्ट, you think by yourself that 2 multiply by correlation between B and C, and what are 2 securities you are addressing, B and C? So weight of B, weight of C, standard deviation of B, standard deviation of C. So important part of this formula is this one and simply this one. All the rest of the formula you can generate by yourself. यहाँ पे खैर 3 सिक्योरिटीज से ज़ायद तो किसी भी पेपर में नहीं जाता कोई, ना ही बुक में, लेकिन अगर आप ज़्यादा भी हो तो आप इसको फार्मूला को आप जितना ड्रैग कर सकते हैं आप उसको कर सकते हैं। तो इस पार्ट को बड़ा गौर से देखें और क्योंकि आपकी सारी फर्दर प्रैक्टिस इसके ऊपर डिपेंड करती है। अब जस्ट हमने इसमें डाटा को पुट करना है। सो जस्ट पुट योर डाटा इनटू दिस फार्मूला एंड सॉल्व इट। ये एक लंबा ट्रिकी काम है, लेकिन आप जस्ट इस तमाम डाटा को जो आपने ऊपर पहले डिफाइन किया है उसको इस फार्मूला के अंदर आप पुट करें और कैलकुलेट इट एंड यू विल गेट 46.66, दैट इज द कोवेरियंस ऑफ ए बी सी। और स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन इज सिंपली द अंडर रूट ऑफ दिस कोवेरियंस। इसका जिस वक्त आप इसका अंडर रूट लेंगे तो आपके पास आंसर आ जाएगा 6.83, which means that if you are going to invest in the portfolio which has 3 securities A, B and C, there is a risk of 6.83%. Now what is the return? Return is very easy. I already discussed this formula with you. What is the weight of A in this question? 1/3. What is the weight of B in this question? 1/3. What is the weight of C in this question? 1/3. And multiply the associated returns. In security A, there is a expected return of 15%, in B 12%, and in C 30%. And after solving it, you will get 0.19 or 19%. So if you invest in under these conditions, there is expected return of 19% and there is a risk is 6.83%. Now what is the case B? In case B, there is only 2 securities, B and C, and you are assuming equal weights. So if you are assuming equal weights, weight of B should be 0.5 or 1 by 2 and weight of C should be 0.5 or 1 by 2. So now generate formula. Weight of B square, standard deviation of B square plus weight of C square and standard deviation of C square, plus, because there is only one possibility of correlation and that is between B and C, no other one. BC and CB, these are same things. So there is a possibility of only one correlation. So we just restrict formula till correlation between B and C. So 2 multiply by correlation between B and C, multiply by weight of B, weight of C, standard deviation of B and standard deviation of C, and that's it. Simply put the data into this formula and you will get variance of 36. And after taking the under root of this variance, you will get standard deviation, that is a measure of risk, and that is 6%. And what is the expected return of BC? Weight of B is 0.5, return of B is 0.2, return of C is 0.3 and weight of C is 0.5. Just simply multiply these and add up. There is expected return of 21%. So what is the condition C? In condition C, B and D, and condition D, C and D. So in this case there is only one correlation and in this case there is only one correlation. So we are assuming equal weights in each case. So weight should be 0.5, 0.5, in this case 0.5, 0.5. So in C, weight of B is 0.5, weight of D is 0.5, standard deviation of B is 8, standard deviation of D is 16, correlation between B and D 0.3, return of B is 12%, return of D is 22%. I am copying this data from the main question because it is not good to go back repeatedly. हमें बार बार पीछे जाने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, ये डाटा मैंने यहाँ पे ले लिया. तो जस्ट सिंपली सबसे पहले वेरिएंस, तो वेरिएंस सेम बिल्कुल उसी तरह फार्मूला जनरेट करेंगे. वेट ऑफ बी का स्क्वायर, बिकॉज वी आर एड्रेसिंग बी एंड डी, सो वेट ऑफ बी स्क्वायर, स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन ऑफ बी स्क्वायर प्लस वेट ऑफ डी स्क्वायर, स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन ऑफ डी स्क्वायर प्लस 2 कोरिलेशन बिटवीन बी एंड डी, मल्टीप्लाई बाय वेट ऑफ बी, multiply by weight of D, multiply by standard deviation of B and multiply by standard deviation of D. And after putting the data into this equation and summing, there is a variance of 99.2, and when we take the under root of this 99.2, standard deviation will be 9.95. So in this condition we are getting risk of 9.95%. And expected return is simply between B and C is weight of B multiplied by return of B plus weight of D multiplied by return of D. After putting the data, we are getting answer that is 0.17 or 17%. So if we invest our half investment in stock B and invest our remaining half investment in stock D, we get expected return of 17% and risk is 9.95%. In case D, once again with equal weights, we are investing our half investment in 0.5 in C and half investment in D. So weight of C and D will be 0.5, standard deviation of C I am taking here from the main data is 20 and standard deviation of D is 16 and correlation between C and D is 0.8, return of C investment is 30% and return of D is 22%. We just generate the formula of variance, which is weight of C square, standard deviation of C square, weight of D square, standard deviation of D square plus 2 multiply by correlation between C and D multiply by weight of C, weight of D, standard deviation of C, standard deviation of D. Putting the data into the equation and we get the variance of 292 after taking the under root. Standard deviation will be 17%, so risk is 17%. Similarly, expected return of C and D is weight of C multiplied by return of C plus weight of D multiplied by return of D. Putting the data and we get 26% expected return. So now what is the B part of the question? B part of the question is that calculate the standard deviation for a portfolio consisting of stock B and C, assuming the following weights: 40% in B and 60% in C, and condition number 2, 40% in C and 60% in B. So it is the same question we discussed already, just we are going to change the weights. In first condition we are putting 40% our total investment, or total of 40% of our total investment in B and investing remaining 60% in C. And in case 2 we are putting 40% in C and 60% in B. All the data is same, we already taken. So in first case we are putting 60% in B, so 0.6 B, weight of B is 0.6, 40% in C, so weight of C is 0.4, standard deviation of B is 8, standard deviation of C is 20, and correlation between B and C is minus 1.0. Simply we generate the formula: weight of B square, standard deviation of B square, plus weight of C square, standard deviation of C square, plus 2 multiplied by correlation between B and C, multiplied by weight of B, weight of C, standard deviation of B, standard deviation of C. Just put the data and we calculate the variance, covariance, that is 10.24. And after taking the under root, our standard deviation, which is a measure of risk, is 3.2%. And in case B, because there is one other option, okay, here it is given. If we invest 40% in B, 60% in C, so the weight of B is 0.4, weight of C is 0.6, standard deviation of B is 8, standard deviation of C is 20, and correlation between B and C minus 1.0. Okay. I first defined this one, so no problem. So just generate the formula: weight of B square, standard deviation of B square, plus weight of C square, standard deviation of C square, plus 2 multiply by correlation between B and C, multiply by weight of B, weight of C, standard deviation of B, standard deviation of C, and just simply add up the data into this formula and we get the variance 77.44. and after taking the under root of this variance, our standard deviation is 8.8%. So in C सिंपली ये पूछा जा रहा है कि आपके ख्याल में जो केस ए है जिसके अंदर हमने मुख्तलिफ कैलकुलेट किए ऑप्शंस, इनमें से कौन सी मोस्ट सूटेबल है? तो अगर इस केस में देखें ए बी सी में, जो ए बी सी केस फर्स्ट केस है, इसमें अगर आप देखें तो आपके पास जो रिस्क है वो है 6.83 and your return is 19. Similarly, in case B of A part, your risk is 6% and your expected return is 21%. In case C of A part, your risk is 9.95% and your expected return is 17%. In case D of A part, your risk is 17% and your expected return is 26%. So in your opinion, what is the best portfolio? As you are seeing here that this portfolio is best, because in this combination you are getting expected return of 21%, while bearing only 6% risk. Whereas in first option, you are getting expected return of 19% and associated risk is 6.83, and in this condition you are getting 17% and 9.95. So most suitable or feasible portfolio to invest is B and C. Here, the common stocks of companies A and B have the expected returns and standard deviations given below. The expected correlation coefficient between the two stocks is minus 0.35. So there are only two stocks, so it is very easy to calculate the expected return and measure the measure of risk and standard deviation. Here, common stock A return is 0.10. Common stock B return is 0.06. So R of A is 0.10, R of B is 0.06, standard deviation of A is 0.05, standard deviation of B is 0.04, and correlation between A and B is minus 0.35. What is the missing thing? Only one thing you required, and that is weight. Compute the risk and return for a portfolio comprising 60% invested in the stock of company A and 40% invested in the stock of company B. So weight of A will be 0.60 and weight of B will be 0.40. Now your data, weight of A is 0.60, weight of B is 0.40, standard deviation of A is 0.05, standard deviation of B is 0.04, R of A is 0.10, R of B is 0.06, and correlation between A and B minus 0.35. Just simply generate the formula and put all the data into this formula. So weight of A square, standard deviation of A square plus weight of B square, standard deviation of B square plus 2 multiplied by correlation between A and B multiplied by weight of A, weight of B, standard deviation of A, standard deviation of B. Simply put the data and you will calculate the standard deviation. First of all, you get the covariance, that is 0.00082. Just simply take the under root and your standard deviation will be 0.0286, that is 2.86%. So expected return, for expected return is simply weight of A multiplied by return of A plus weight of B multiplied by return of B. Just simply put the data and calculate it, 8.4%. In question number 5, common stock D, E and F have the following characteristics with respect to expected returns, standard deviation and correlation between them. So here common stock D return is, or you can say R of D is 0.08, R of E is 0.15, R of F is 0.12, standard deviation of D is 0.02, standard deviation of E is 0.16, standard deviation of F is 0.08, correlation between D and E is 0.40, correlation between D and F is 0.60, correlation between E and F is 0.80, and one thing which is missing and we get from here, and that is weight. What is the expected return and standard deviation of portfolio composed of 20% of funds invested in stock D? So weight of D should be 0.20, 30% of funds in stock E, so weight of E should be 0.30, and remaining 50% of funds in stock F, so weight of F is 0.50. That's it. Just put your data here. First of all, generate the formula for covariance of portfolio. Weight of D square, standard deviation of D square plus weight of E square, standard deviation of E square plus weight of F square, standard deviation of F square. And now you have three different possibilities: correlation between D and E, correlation between D and F, correlation between E and F. And all these correlations are given here, and we need here three sets of correlation formulas. First is correlation between D and E. So 2 multiply by correlation between D and E, multiply by weight of D, multiply by weight of E, multiply by standard deviation of D, multiply by standard deviation of E. Just take this concept and generate other two parts of the formula. Second possible correlation between D and F, and DFF correlation is 0.60. So what should be the next part of the formula? 2 multiply by correlation between D and F, multiply by weight of D, multiply by weight of F, multiply by standard deviation of D, multiply by standard deviation of F, plus generate the remaining part of the formula and put all the data into this formula and get the answer. Your covariance of portfolio is 0.007336. Take the under root, that is standard deviation of the portfolio, and that is 8.56%. And return, expected return on this portfolio, because you have three stocks, so weight of D multiply by return of D plus weight of E multiply by return of E plus weight of F multiply by return of F. Just put the data and get the answer 0.121 or 12.1%. So after that, question number 6, that Jerome is considering investing in a security that has the following distribution of possible 1-year returns. So it is the same question, or we can say it is the same type of question as question number 1 was. So probability is 0.10 and possible return is minus 0.10. Second probability is 0.20 and return is 0.00. Third possibility or possible return is 0.10 and probability is 30%. Similarly, fourth possible return is 20% and probability of that return is 30%. And fifth possible return is 30% and probability of that 30% is 10%. So simply this one is your P, this one is your R. There is no correlation, no standard deviation. So simply it is the simple method to calculate the expected return of portfolio and standard deviation of the portfolio. I already discussed this formula with you in the question number 1. So simply just multiply these both and take the sum, that is equals to the expected return of the portfolio 0.11, and apply this formula to calculate the variance of the portfolio. And after getting the variance of the portfolio, you will just simply take the under root and your result is 0.1135 or 11.35%. And what is B? Is there much downside risk? How can you tell? तो यहाँ पे अगर आप गौर करें तो 20% पॉसिबिलिटी है जी कि आपको रिटर्न मिलेगा 0%, और 10% प्रोबेबिलिटी है कि आपका रिटर्न नेगेटिव जाएगा 10%। तो टोटल आप इसका कर लें 20 + 10 तो 30% जो है वो पॉसिबिलिटी है या प्रोबेबिलिटी है दैट एक्चुअल रिटर्न विल बी 0। और 30 और 30 60 और प्लस 10 70% प्रोबेबिलिटी है कि आपका रिटर्न 0 से ज़ायद होगा। तो ये था जी आपका मॉडर्न पोर्टफोलियो थ्योरी MPT, इसकी डिटेल और इसको कैलकुलेट कैसे किया जाता है। तो इन क्वेश्चंस को देखें, इनको प्रैक्टिस करें, फार्मूलाज खुद जनरेट करें, और जिस वक्त आप खुद फार्मूलाज को जनरेट करके उसकी प्रैक्टिस करेंगे तो MPT से रिलेटेड कोई भी क्वेश्चन आ जाएगा तो बड़ा इजीली आप कैलकुलेट कर सकते हैं। और एक और चीज़ आपको मैं बताता चलूँ, ये जो टॉपिक है इसका ये जो न्यूमेरिकल क्वेश्चन है ये सिर्फ इन्वेस्टमेंट एंड पोर्टफोलियो मैनेजमेंट के अंदर ही नहीं पूछा जाता, ये आपको फाइनेंशियल मैनेजमेंट के अंदर भी पूछा जा सकता है और कॉर्पोरेट फाइनेंस के अंदर भी इस क्वेश्चन को पूछा जा सकता है। सो ये टॉपिक सिर्फ रिस्ट्रिक्ट ये इन्वेस्टमेंट एंड पोर्टफोलियो मैनेजमेंट तक नहीं है, बट इट एक्सटेंड्स टू फाइनेंशियल मैनेजमेंट एंड कॉर्पोरेट फाइनेंस। In further coming videos, I will try to make some more videos on different remaining concepts of investment and portfolio management. Till then, take care of yourself and other persons around you. Thank you very much.